talk about something that is really near and dear to my heart. I can talk about innovation for years, for days, for minutes, for hours, because that is in my DNA. Technology is in my DNA, but passion is in my heart. And we can all come up with ideas, but if you don't believe in it, and you don't take it forward, and you don't make it sticky, it doesn't matter how great that idea is. So today I'm going to talk about something that I did not imagine creating. It just happened. About 3 years ago at CES, which is the largest technology conference with thousands and thousands and thousands of brilliant technologists, I heard that there were less than 10% of people in technology that were women. And I thought, oh my God, how intimidating. I'm going to show up into this world where I really don't know anyone. So I picked up the phone, I called 4 girlfriends of mine that I knew were going, and I said, why don't you show up and we'll hang out together, we'll have a sleepover. And I said, and you invite your girlfriends that don't know anyone, and let them invite their girlfriends. I showed up on a Monday, and 50 women were ready for a sleepover. I had a king-size bedroom, of course, and by day 3, we had 150 women, and I had the penthouse suite, and magic happened. It happened because we weren't the economy of connections, like Barry talked about. We were a sisterhood. We bonded together, sharing ideas, sharing stories. In my closet, where my clothes were hanging, women were showing each other their technologies, and business was happening. We didn't do deals, we created relationships. And as you know, we do business with people we like, business with people we trust, business with people we enjoy spending time with. It's not about a deal, it's about a relationship. And I figured if I can connect women in technology, what about women in marketing? What about women in research? What about women in media? What about women in advertising? And 2.5 years later, we've connected over 3,500 power women that are a sisterhood. We are friends. We support one another. We encourage each other to be the best that we can be. So I wrote this presentation from my heart for each and every one of you, which I hope is what we are talking about today. Innovation becomes sticky when it becomes a movement, when we all embrace it and we all believe it. It all becomes part of our heart. Inspiration, it's not about activation, it's not about talk. Inspiration is about inspiring each other. Inspire one another. And of course, Israel is near and dear to my heart. I am so inspired when I go to Israel to see how the people, all relate to one another. We are one big mishpacha in Israel. And what is so incredible to me is there is no differentiation between man and woman. Everyone in Israel serves in the tzahal. We are people with responsibility, and there's power in that. So here today is just for you. I call it Bring Emotion to the Boardroom. And what is the reality today? There is a real harsh reality. Women don't ask for it. We don't think we're ready. We worry that we might mess up. We're less self-assured. We don't think we belong there. But it all comes down to confidence. Unfortunately, it comes down to a single word called confidence. But the reality is, confidence is only half the story. We start in the workforce 50-50. We all talk about gender equality. We actually start in the workforce, in our careers, 50-50. It's equally balanced. What happens is, as we rise the ranks and we get older in life, we gain more responsibility at work. But guess what? We also gain more responsibility at home. There are only 9 out of 100 Fortune 100 CEOs that are women. Interestingly enough, I had a wonderful conversation with Barry behind the curtain, which you might have heard the noise and the ranting and raving in the background. I was blown away when he told me that tomorrow they will be announcing that they have, for the first time ever, a female CEO for the US named Kathy Engelbert. First time ever for Deloitte, a female CEO in the US. So of course we started chatting about that because this is a topic I need to know a lot more about. And I said, that's amazing. I hope you didn't put a female CEO for the US because you want to fill a quota. I don't want to be a quota. Don't bring me to the table because you need to put a woman there to look good in the marketplace. You bring a woman to the table because we make that table better. And he said, you are so right about that. He said, let me tell you a little story, because this doesn't tie into my talk, he said. So I decided to incorporate this for him. He said that they have 3 women out of 34 on their board. And they looked around, they said, that's terrible. So they actually removed 5 men to replace with 5 more women, and they now have 8 out of 34 of their board members are now women. But that's not what's a wow. That wasn't the wow. The wow was, he said, and our table got better. He said all of a sudden, the dynamics around that table opened up. And more dialogue, more conversation, more emotion, more heart, more soul, more passion, more love, more dynamics, all happened when women joined the conversation. That is an amazing piece of information. But why? Why are we having this issue today? Why can't we get more women at the table? What's the challenge? Is it because we're less competent? Is that possible? Absolutely not. I say men and women are all important. We're all equal. We're just different. We talk a lot about diversity. We talk about diversity of gender. We talk about diversity of race. How about diversity of talent? How about diversity of skill set? How about diversity of mindset? Because you know what? Diversity creates tension. The whole reason crowdsourcing and wisdom of the crowd works. Who watches Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Okay, great show. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire gives you 3 options. Option 1, 50-50. So you have a 50% chance of getting it right. Option 2, phone a friend. If that friend's not an expert in the topic, you're doomed. And even if they are an expert, they might not know the answer. And then the third is ask the audience. And by the way, they're not Harvard grads in the audience. It is an amalgamation of life in that audience. All kinds of people. That audience is right, I think it's 93% of the time. Diversity of mindset is a great idea. And when you think about the strengths between men and women, and this is well-documented information. Women in general are more nurturing. They're more collaborative. They're better team builders. They're better storytellers. We're better visualizers. Men have good things going for them too. You're very strategic. You're linear. You're directive. You're in control. You're assertive. You're very self-oriented. Those are all very important skills. Think about both of them. And actually, I was thinking about this backstage. Women have that EQ thing, that emotion quotient, and the guys got that IQ thing going. EQ meets IQ is a very powerful dynamic. So if it's not competency, is it this fear of doing it all? We talk about work-life balance all the time. And by the way, I don't believe in work-life balance. You have one life. Work is a dimension. Family is a dimension. Friends are a dimension. Tzedakah is a dimension. All these things are dimensions. You have to figure out how you can prioritize all of those things, and we all have different dimensions in our life that matter. So is it this fear of doing it all? And remember what I said, as we rise the ranks, We gain more responsibility at work, and we gain more responsibility at home. We start having children. We have elderly parents. You might be single and need time to go date. Whatever it is, you might have to take care of your dog. We all have a life. So is it really a gender issue? Is it a female issue? Or is it a caregiver issue? Maybe it's a caregiver issue. And women are still today typically the predominantly responsible caregiver. So is it a caregiver issue? The problem is we are losing a lot of leaders. We're losing caregivers to leadership roles because we opt out. What happens when we rise the ranks, and I'm a perfect example of this, I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children. I started rising the ranks, gaining more responsibility, having rules that made no sense for me. You have one of 3 options. You either opt out completely, because you can't do it all, or you opt into leadership and you conform to the rules that never made sense for you, because that's what you have to do, or you start your own company to create your own rules so that you can be a successful CEO and a successful mother at the same time. That's what I chose to do. But what the reality is, the traits of the most successful leaders are caregiver traits. The most successful traits of leaders today are those that nurture, those that inspire. You know, with your children, you want them to be the best that they can be. You encourage them, you educate them, you nourish them, you bring them up in the ranks. And you're a team builder. You play with the family and you play with all those dynamics. So shame on us for losing the best characteristics in the world because we have rules in the corporate institutions that just don't allow people to have life, and they have to make a choice between the two. And I've had several aha moments in my life that make you say, what am I going to do about it? I have an option to just ignore it and follow the rules, or, as I say, you break them, and that's where my name of Chief Troublemaker came in. I don't want to be a troublemaker. I want to be a goody two-shoes and always be, you know, praised for following the rules and being perfect. Perfection, by the way, is boring. Don't be perfect. But they didn't work for me. I can't keep my light. I couldn't stay at work until midnight and keep my lights on. I wanted to go home and be with my family for dinner. I wanted to go to my kids' soccer game. I wanted to go to my kids' basketball game. So my aha moment, why were the men always right? I always had male bosses. They led the way, and I had to follow those rules. Why do they always win? Why is business not emotional? I am the pioneer of online research. You know those horrible surveys you get on the internet that take 45 minutes to fill out and you wish you didn't have to do it? And maybe you get a reward at the end? So I'm the grandmother of that. I created the first online ecosystem in the world that now is the new norm for market research. I sold my company 4 years ago to a French company. I had 250 employees in 6 cities. I now am working for a company of 16,000 employees in 83 countries. And I watched this company break apart my little business. And it broke my heart. And I brought passion to the boardroom. And I would say, why are you only thinking about numbers and linear and structure? What about the people? And how I built a lifestyle company. And the men at the table said, there is no room for emotion in the boardroom. Shame on us. Shame on all of us. Because in my opinion, when you care about your people give you more. And they feel like it's their own company. And they rise and they elevate the work that you're doing. Now, the good news for my company is they've become emotional, and it's a very good thing. And why do the existing rules dictate? Why should I conform to the rules when I'm a leader and not transform them? Why not change the game? I am fortunate now to be a woman at the top. Why should I not start writing the new rules that make more sense for people today to have a life and enjoy work as an important aspect of it? Culture. How do we change our culture from a culture of rigidity to a culture of generosity? And how can we use our words to inspire? And how can we understand? How do we extol the fact that women do make a difference? Don't hire us as a quota, but hire us because we do elevate that table. As a matter of fact, Harvard Business Review came up with this statement: adding at least one woman to the table raises its collective intelligence. And my favorite Sarah Jessica Parker expression, trying to be a man is a waste of a woman. Bring your girl to the table. It is so important to understand what we bring and not try to be like everyone else. Homogeneity does not breed success on any level. Sheryl Sandberg says lean in. Anne-Marie Slaughter says balance. These two women are amazing. Close the confidence gap and be the change you want to see. Don't talk the talk, walk it. Activate. Inspire the change you want to see. It starts with you. And most importantly, no apologies. How many times you can say, I'm sorry for this? I'm not sorry. Damn, I did it for a reason. No regrets. Never look back and say shoulda, woulda, coulda. Live your life for the moment. Add self to confidence and create a culture of generosity.
What's your name?
And this
Scarlett Hale Berman.
And how old are you, Scarlett Hale Berman?
7.
And what's your favorite book?
Grace for President.
And what did you learn the first time we read that book?
That there's never a girl president.
And how did you respond when I read that to you?
I didn't believe it.
And what did you say when I told you it was true?
I said, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah, you did.
confidence starts now, even at the age of 7.